Hello, friends, and welcome to another edition of Strictly Sports NFL Saturday. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined by good old MF Michael Fletcher and Michael Bullock. Tonight, we are going to preview the remaining games of week number 9 of this 100th NFL season, which got underway the other night, Thursday night on Halloween. San Francisco 49ers surviving a scare from the Arizona Cardinals, held them off 28-25. They're still undefeated, and only the sky's the limit for them. And we'll see what happens next week. Next week, they got the game of the week next week against the Seattle Seahawks, and that's going to be our main event for next week. But for right now, Arizona, on the other hand, they'll be going to Tampa Bay next week. So that's the story. 4 teams on bye this week here in week 9. The Atlanta Falcons, the Cincinnati Bengals, the NFC champion Los Angeles Rams, and the New Orleans Saints. And that's it for that. So let's dive on into the action for week number 9. And we're going to start it off with another London game. Another week, another London game. This one at the Cathedral of Soccer, as Derek Ferreira eloquently puts it, Wembley Stadium in London, England. On the NFL Network, we have the Houston Texans squaring off against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And on the call for that one, it will be the NFL Network crew. Rich Eisen, Steve Mariucci. It's Rich Eisen, Kurt Warner, Steve Mariucci, Michael Irvin, and Melissa Stark on the sideline. And Houston opening up as only a 1-point favorite in this one. And the history here favors the Houston Texans. I think they met earlier this season, if I'm not mistaken. I think they met earlier, and I think Houston won that. So I believe it's 22-13 in favor of Houston. I don't recall the score of the earlier meeting if they had it, but nonetheless, Houston has the advantage in this series. So with all that being said, let's get into this Houston-Jacksonville game from jolly old England tomorrow morning. 9:30 a.m. kickoff, by the way, so you get to have a nice little breakfast with that. So here you go. How do the Texans cope without defensive end J.J. Watt? Jaguars quarterback Gardner Minshew was sacked 4 times when the teams played in Houston in September. Jacksonville has allowed 18 sacks this season, which ranks 17th in the NFL. The Jaguars will hold running back Carlos Hyde to less than 40 yards rushing after giving up 176 yards and 2 touchdowns rushing to Christian McCaffrey in Week 5. The Jaguars have shut down Alvin Kamara, 31 yards, Joe Mixon, 2 yards, and Le'Veon Bell, 23 yards. Houston's DeAndre Hopkins has at least 5 receptions in 11 straight games, dating back to last season, the second longest active streak in the NFL. Michael Thomas with 33, or I should say with 13. What to know for fantasy, Leonard Fournette leads the NFL in touches, 198, and owns the longest active streak of games with at least 75 total yards, 8 in a row. Favorites are 16-10 against the spread, all time in London games, 2-1 this season. Houston, the FPI favorite, 67.9%, pretty much 68% for Houston. And I concur. I'm going with the Houston Texans to win this one. I'm going to say 24-17. Houston knocks off Jacksonville and completes a season sweep. So, and it would be their second straight season sweep should they get it. So that's all there is to say on that. 24-17, Houston wins. So MF, another week, another game at Wembley.
Yeah, and this one's going to be an interesting one. This is going to be a good one, to say the very least. If you're looking for that score, Anthony, it was 13-12. Houston defeated Jacksonville on September 15th. So just to give you that bit of news.
Okay.
All right. So no, I'm gonna go with Houston. I think they're gonna barely escape. If anybody, I don't think it's gonna be a dominating performance either. I really think that the defense is definitely gonna get affected by the injury to J.J. Watt, the season-ending injury. I think Gardner Minshew's gonna get an opportunity to really show his magic. But I think when you got the just the attack and the way that Houston attacks. I think they're just going to have just enough to win it. My final score is 21-17 at Wembley. Houston knocks off Jacksonville. So, Mike Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, definitely with Gardner Minshew has definitely captured the hearts of not just Jacksonville, but for everyone in the NFL that's followed the Jags. But yeah, and then when it comes to the Texans, I mean, like you said, I mean, the big question. I mean, how is this defense of the Houston Texans going to be without J.J. Watt for the rest of the season? I mean, you kind of have to feel bad for J.J. Watt. I mean, he suffers another season-ending injury, and it could be key somewhere down the line if they're fighting for a playoff spot. So, yeah, so we'll wait and see how it goes. But, yeah, I got the Houston Texans winning this one. I think they're the much better team here, but it will be a close one. I'm going to go 24-17 as my final score, so I really got nothing more to say. So I say let's just move right along to the next game, Florio.
Yes, indeed. And that is on Fox. It'll be the Washington Redskins squaring off against my Buffalo Bills from New Era Field in Buffalo. Games on Fox. We got Chris Myers with Daryl Moose Johnston and Laura Oakman on the call. Buffalo opening up as a 10.5-point favorite. Very encouraging. Buffalo leads the all-time series 8-5. However, Washington won the last meeting between these two back in 2015. That was in Washington. The Redskins won 35-25. That win snapped a 6-game losing streak to the Buffalo Bills. Their last meeting in Buffalo was back in 2003, and Buffalo won that one 24-7. Buffalo actually hosted Washington the last time in 2011, but that was not in Buffalo. That was back when Buffalo were playing a few home games at Toronto, at the Toronto Sky Dome or the Rogers Center, whatever you want to call it. But we call it Sky Dome. But Buffalo won that one 23-0 in 2011. Washington Redskins have not won in Buffalo since the replacement year back in 1987. That was a 27-7 final. And with this being the 100th NFL season, anytime a past Super Bowl rematch comes up, we definitely address it. And these two teams do have Super Bowl history. They met in Super Bowl 26 at the old Metrodome in Minneapolis in January of 92. And it was the Washington Redskins that defeated my Buffalo Bills 37-24. Mark Rippon, and all them. So that's the story there. So, MF, we start this one off with you. Washington and Buffalo. Buffalo, one of the biggest favorites of the week at 10.5.
Yeah, one of the biggest favorites at 10.5. But Florio, I got a bone to pick with you because of what happened last week against the Philadelphia Eagles. What in Blue's name happened with that game? We all had Buffalo to win that game, and we all end up with egg in our face on that one, Florio.
Nobody worse than me.
Yeah, so I got a majorly bone to pick with you with that loss. But nah, this time around, Buffalo will bounce back. They'll get the win here. They're actually starting Dwayne Haskins for Washington this week. Haskins hasn't done really well at all. I think he's got 0 touchdown, 4 INTs in the young season. They really have messed up badly with this team. So just the mere fact that they beat the Miami Dolphins is beyond me because they're that bad. They're just as horrible as the Dolphins, and somehow they beat Miami. Well, Miami shot themselves in the foot at the end, but Buffalo should handle their business. They'll get a bounce back win. So I got Buffalo winning, and I'm going to tell you, if they lose to Washington, Florio, so help me next week. That's all I'm saying. So Buffalo wins. Bullet, go.
All right, Fletch. Tell us how you really feel. Whew. My goodness. Fletch is certainly on fire with this one, but yeah, yeah, I agree with them. I mean, what the hell was that last week, Florio? I thought you would have had your team would have been prepared for the Philadelphia Eagles, but
Much
you
better
really
team.
your
They're a much better team than the Dolphins. I mean, the Dolphins are terrible. We barely beat them. But Philly, I got to be honest. I should have said this last week. I was worried about that game, and I had every right to be. And sure enough, I was right.
yeah, but your team should have been more prepared for that. So, and I agree with Fletch. If they lose to the lowly Redskins, oh, if you thought we were upset with your team, this week, that's nothing compared to what it'll be like next week. But yeah, I think they're gonna bounce back. They're gonna beat the Redskins. I mean, it's been a hard times year for them, so I really got nothing more to say. Let's just move on to you, Florio. And your team better bounce back, or watch out, the gloves are coming off next week.
I'd rather you guys laugh at me instead of reading me the riot act. But, it is what it is. But since Bill Callahan took over as interim coach in Week 6, Washington quietly ranks 10th in the league in rushing yards and 8th in yards per attempt. After the Eagles steamrolled the Bills on the ground last week, 218 yards and 3 touchdowns, beyond unacceptable, which needs a lot of straightening up. Washington likely will look to implement a similar game plan. Frank Gore will outrush Adrian Peterson in a battle of future Hall of Fame running backs. Gore will rush for 75 yards and a touchdown. Peterson will have a solid first half, but Washington's inability to convert on third down passes and extend drives will hold them to 65 yards. The Redskins have gone 9 straight quarters without scoring a touchdown, the longest active streak in the NFL and second longest this season, MF's Dolphins with 10. The Bills' defense and special teams has reached double figures 4 times this season, tied for the third most, while the Redskins have allowed opposing defense and special teams to score double-digit fantasy points 5 times, tied for the second most. Washington played last Thursday. Since 2014, teams coming off a Thursday game and that are road underdogs of at least 7 points are 15-5-1 against the spread. Since 2001, those teams are 33-17-1 against the spread. The FPI has Buffalo winning at 68.7%, just north of 69%. Buffalo wins, so help me God, please. 21-6, Buffalo over Washington. So nothing more to say. Let's move on to our first CBS game of the week. And it features the Tennessee Titans squaring off against the Carolina Panthers at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. And on the call for that one will be Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, and Melanie Collins. And it is Carolina opening up as a 3.5-point favorite. Series history favors Tennessee, though, 3-2. They last met in 2015 in Nashville. Carolina won that one 27-10. Their last meeting in Charlotte was in 2011. Tennessee steamrolled Carolina 30-3. The Panthers have never beaten the Titans at home, so maybe something has to give here. So nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, come on in. Let's start off with you here. Tennessee and Carolina, sleeper matchup, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, I think this could definitely be a sleeper match, no doubt about it. I'll tell you what, Kyle Allen continues to impress us. I mean, even though last week, what the hell happened to them? I mean, they basically got well, let's just say, Florio. I'm going to bring back an old school memory from the wrestling forum. They got Ryback squashed by the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, I was thinking like this was going to be a close game, but yeah, so much for that. But yeah, I mean, I do expect them to bounce back here. I think, but Tennessee will definitely give them some fits here. But in the end, I do got the Carolina Panthers winning this one. I'm going to say 24-17 is my final. So Florio, it's yours.
Yeah. When it comes to this one, okay, there it is. Will we see composure and poise from Panthers quarterback Kyle Allen after he lost some of the calmness that was a strength while throwing 3 picks last week against the 49ers? The Titans have a physical, aggressive defense that will try to do to Allen what the 49ers did. Derrick Henry will finish with more rushing yards than Christian McCaffrey. The Panthers' run defense is allowing 135.1 yards a game, and Henry is coming off a career-high 4.7 yards per attempt against the Bucs defense that was tops in the league and allowing only 2.8 yards per attempt. The Titans are tied for third in red zone efficiency this season at 66.7%, which would be their second best number in the past 15 seasons. From week 8 of last season through week 8 of this season, Christian McCaffrey has as many games with both a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown, 5, as any other 2 running backs combined. As an underdog of at least 3 points, Tennessee is 8-2 against the spread and 7-3 outright under their head coach, Mike Vrabel. Carolina, a very slim FPI favorite at only 51.1%. But nonetheless, I'm going with the Carolina Panthers to win what I think will be a close game. I'm going to go 20-17. Carolina barely gets by Tennessee. So nothing more to say. MF, Tennessee and Carolina, first game on our side of the ledger. MF, are you there? Maybe he stepped away.
Fletch, you there? Maybe he did step away. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, he probably. I don't see any indication on our chat here, but yeah, he probably stepped away for just a moment. So while we wait for MF to come back, we'll just go into our next game, and when MF comes, oh, there he is. Okay, MF, your thoughts on Tennessee and Carolina, the first game from our side of the ledger this week?
Yeah, no, this is going to be an interesting matchup. I was listening to what you guys were saying. I'm going to go with the Tennessee Titans. I kind of feel like ever since they changed the quarterback from Marcus Mariota to Ryan Tannehill, you can see there's a different look to the team. They're getting a little more better. I think they're getting a little more confident. Obviously, with Allen handling the load, I kind of feel like they're gonna stack the box. That means they're gonna dare him to win this game. They're gonna try to take Christian McCaffrey out of this game. And like you said, Florio, I believe Derrick Henry will have a bigger day because I'm not really believing in that Carolina defense that much. I agree with you. I'm going to go with the Tennessee Titans. I think they're going to pull it off and they're going to win this game. So nothing more to say. Let's move on to the next matchup.
And it's one of the big games of the week right here. And it comes to us from Fox, and a game that we will have on our local Fox affiliate, Fox Providence. We got the Minnesota Vikings squaring off against the Kansas City Chiefs from Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. Kevin Burkhardt, he's back from his baseball playoff commitments. He's reunited with his crew of Charles Davis and Pam Oliver. Minnesota opening up as a 4-point favorite this week. And Kansas City leads the all-time series 6-5. Their last meeting was 2015 in Minnesota. Minnesota won 16-10. Their last meeting in Kansas City was 2011. Kansas City winning that one 22-17. The Vikings have not won in Kansas City since all the way back in 1974. 1974. A 35-15 final for Minnesota on that day. A lot. Now, we have another Super Bowl moment here. These two met. Matter of fact, the first time these two teams ever met was in Super Bowl IV. Super Bowl IV at the old Tulane Stadium in New Orleans. Kansas City and their late head coach, Hank Stram, knocking off Bud Grant's Minnesota Vikings 23-7. And that game pretty much put the merger in the stratosphere at that point, the year after the Jets upset the Colts. And that's how the merger and that's how this whole NFL Super Bowl thing was born. So there you have it. So KC won that one 23-7 in Super Bowl IV. So this is a great matchup here, and let's dive right on in to what will be, without a question, a fantastic matchup. Dalvin Cook leads the NFL in rushing, and the Chiefs have allowed more yards on the ground than all but two other teams, both of which are winless. So Kansas City faces a big challenge and likely without any of its regular starting defensive linemen. Quarterback Matt Moore was impressive in his Chiefs starting debut last week, but the Vikings, who are fifth in the league in total defense, are an upgrade in competition. Minnesota will tie its previous best effort against the run recorded on New Year's Eve 2017 and Week 17 of that year, when it held the Chicago Bears to 30 rushing yards. Andy Reid has been able to hide the weakness of his running game for some time now, but that ends this week against a stout Viking defense. The Chiefs rank among the NFL leaders in points per game, fourth at 28.3, yards per game, fifth at 392.5, and passing yards a game, second at 309.5. Since 2016, Stephon Diggs' average fantasy points per game drops by nearly 25% when playing outside the NFC North. Minnesota is 2-8-1, both against the spread and straight up in Kirk Cousins starts against teams that enter with winning records, including 0-6-1 on the road, both against the spread and straight up. Minnesota, slight favorite, 52.5%, which is understandable because Patrick Mahomes is still out. And unless I hear anything out of the ordinary regarding Patrick Mahomes, if he's still out, Minnesota wins. And I say Minnesota will win. My final score, 27-24. If Mahomes was playing, then I would have gone with KC. But since Mahomes is still out, unless something out of the ordinary happens, I got to go with Minnesota, 27-24. So nothing more to say. MF, one of our big games of the week. I'd say this is probably the number 2 game of the week behind our big one later on.
Yeah, no doubt about it. As of now, from what I'm reading, basically they're saying it's a game time decision. So I don't know. I mean, right now, I kind of have to say it really depends on when he practices. Remember, they don't post the final injury report till at least, I think, 11 or 12. I think it's 11 a.m. or 11:30 a.m. for the early games. So we won't know till literally 11:30 if he's in or out, because that's normally the norm of the league. I think you're supposed to release your final injury report by at least 90 minutes to an hour before kickoff. So that is going to be very telling where this goes. So at that point, I'm gonna go with Kansas City. I'm gonna go with Minnesota to win. So go ahead, Bullock.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, even if Patrick Mahomes, I mean, does play, I mean, the thing is, will he be at 100%? That's going to be the question. I mean, we won't know. But the thing is, I mean, the defense hasn't been really good, especially against the run. And when you're going up against someone like Dalvin Cook, that's going to be a real challenge for them. And yeah, I mean, and even if Mahomes is healthy enough, I mean, he's going up against a really good defense of the Minnesota Vikings, and yeah, it's a tough one, but I'm going to make it unanimous. I'm gonna go with the Kansas City Chiefs. Not the Kansas City Chiefs, the Minnesota Vikings, as well. So yeah, and I think this would be, and if they do end up losing, this would be their third loss at home this season. If I'm correct on that, huh?
Fourth. It would be their fourth.
It would be their fourth loss at home this season. So, yeah, I mean, and they say Arrowhead is pretty much a home field advantage for the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, so far this season, that has not been the case. So yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. I got Minnesota winning this one. So Florio, let's move on.
Yes, and this would be their fourth loss because they lost to Indy, they lost to Houston, and then they lost to Green Bay. And they're very likely to lose to Minnesota unless, Patrick Mahomes, pulls a Willis Reed and surprises the hell out of all of us. So we'll see. We'll see. We go from one of our games of the week to not only the Zonk game of the week, but as of this moment, I could consider this the Zonk game of the year up to this point. Oh, boy. Thank goodness we're not getting this one on our CBS affiliate, WPRI 12, or else I would have gone on a hissy fit. The New York Jets squaring off against the Miami Dolphins at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. Spiro Ditas, Anna Marcelletta, AJ Ross. I feel bad for you folks. You got to sit through this. Jets are opening up as 3-point favorites. The Jets lead the all-time series 54-51 with a tie. Dolphins, however, have won the last 3 meetings, including the last 2 in Miami. 13-6 last year, 31-28 the year before. The Jets last won in Miami in 2016. That was a 27-23 final. So, oh boy, and how fitting is it that MF has to start off on this Zonk game of the year. The one win Jets against the 0-for Dolphins. Oh, MF. And I feel bad for our friend Eric Carrier because he's actually in Miami right now. He's going to this game.
Yep.
I feel bad for you, man.
Nah, and the thing is that this could be the game that Miami might win. It's Adam Gates. It's the Jets. You know they want this one. They want to embarrass Adam Gates. They want him to show him, hey, you're the one who caused all this trouble by everything that you did back in the day. We want to show you why we canned you. We want to show the NFL why you were fired and why we got rid of your ass. So no, there's going to be there's going to be a fire lit under the Dolphins in this very game. Any other game, we probably would be like, you know what? We're going to throw it. You know they're in the tank mode. You're thinking, we'll lose this game because we want to keep the draft position. No. This is that game that we need to win. Because if we don't win this game, just to hear the Jets and them snickering about how they got us, it's going to leave a bitter taste in my mouth. So, no, this is the one time that I want to see Miami show up and win this game. I don't care about the rest of the year because we know they're not going to win many games. But this is the one I want. I want this one bad. So I want to see Miami play inspired football tomorrow. And I think we will. Look, and the funny thing is that the first half of the games, Miami is very competitive. I don't think there's anything, no doubt about it. Miami plays great in the first half. It's just we can't figure it out in the second half. I don't know if it's because they get tired. I don't know if it's because they decide, you know what, we've done enough. Let's go into the tank. But there's something that happens in that game that we shoot ourselves in the foot, and the next thing we know, everything falls apart. Because think about it. 3 quarters we did it to Buffalo was almost beat them too. Was well on their way of beating them, and then the wheels came off. Against Pittsburgh last week, played great for one half, then did a 3rd and 20, an 8-man blitz, and let him walk in for the touchdown. It's like there's comprehension and then there's utter belief. And now with the Jets, you got Adam Gates coming in. The Jets suck just as bad as Miami. And you're coming to Miami in our house? I mean, God, this is the perfect storm for a perfect win for the Dolphins. You would think. I think we got to see is how does Miami come out early? If they got that eye that they want to win this game, they're gonna win. But the thing is that we're gonna be good in the first half. It's what we do in the third quarter and beyond. Can we finish a game for 4 quarters, even if we're ahead? That's gonna be the factor. That's gonna be the difference. If we want it, we win. If we're thinking tank, we throw this game just like we've been throwing all the others. So I don't know what to think. I don't know what to believe. I don't know what type of Dolphin team I'm watching tomorrow. That's the only thing I'm saying. I want the Dolphins to win. That's the big factor. Do I think they're gonna? Ugh. I guess that remains to be seen. Bullet, go.
So you're basically saying, Fletch, you're basically taking a pass on who you're picking.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he's pulling a Michael Wilbon. I think he's pushing.
It is a push.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking right now. That he's probably saying push. So, yeah, I can understand where Fletch is coming from with all this, but yeah, the first half they played really good, the Dolphins. It's just the second half that, I mean, if they can play a complete game, I would say I think they will beat the Jets. But the thing is, I need to see it to believe it, and until I see it, I'm sorry. I think the Jets are going to win this one, and Adam Gase is definitely going to get some revenge on his former team. So yeah, I got the Jets winning this. The tanking season of the Dolphins will continue. So Florio, it is yours.
Yeah, wait till you see the final score I have for this one. But nonetheless, this is a matchup between the NFL's 2 worst offenses in terms of yardage and points a game. Expect points to be at a premium. It could come down to the quarterback, Sam Darnold versus Ryan Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick has a 51.5 QBR as compared to Darnold's 33.6 thus far this season. Le'Veon Bell's long-awaited breakout game will happen against the NFL's 31st ranked run defense. We're not talking monster numbers here. Remember, the Jets' offensive line is terrible, but he will exceed his season high of 70 yards. Per the Elias Sports Bureau research, this is the first game in NFL history in which both teams enter with a minus 100-point differential or worse, and are both fewer than 8 games into the season. Exclude the game against the ghostly Patriots, and Darnold's 16-game pace this season would be a 69.9% completion percentage, 3,899 passing yards, and 27 touchdown passes. It's not great, but it's better than you think and worth a look against the 4th most friendly defense to fantasy quarterbacks. In the Super Bowl era, teams with records of 1-5 or worse are 4-18 against the spread and 7-15 straight up as road favorites. Since 2015, teams that are 1-4 or worse and are listed as road favorites are 0-8 against the spread. The Jets are the FPI favorite, 57.9%. We'll round that sucker up to 58. A game of this magnitude, a Zonk game of the year, deserves a Zonk score as far as I'm concerned. I'm going with the Jets to win this game. Let's try this score for fun. 11-9. Yes, I'm pulling the trigger on that sucker. 11-9. The Jets will beat the Dolphins. A Zonk game like that deserves a Zonk score as far as I'm concerned. So let's get that weak sauce out of here, and let's get back to another one of our games of the week here. A rematch of last season's thrilling NFC wildcard matchup. The Chicago Bears squaring off against the Philadelphia Eagles at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. On Fox, the legendary Dick Stockton with Mark Schlereth and Jennifer Hale will have the call. Philadelphia opening up as a 4-point favorite. Chicago, though, leads the all-time series 28-12 with a tie Their last meeting, of course, the infamous wild card game, the Cody Parkey heartbreak game. Philly winning that one 16-15. We all thought Chicago was going to pull it out, but nah, Philly won because Parkey missed that field goal, doinked it off the goalpost. And that win gave Philly 4 straight meetings that they've beaten Chicago, 4 in a row, including that playoff game. They last met in Philly 2 years ago. Philly rolled 31-3. Chicago has not won in Philadelphia since 2011. That was a 30-24 final. So, Michael Bullock, we started off with you. The rematch of last season's NFC wildcard game. Chicago and Philly in Philly. No Cody Parkey this time. Let's see what happens. So, Bullock, Chicago and Philly. Does Chicago get their revenge, or does Philly make it 5 in a row overall against the Bears?
Yeah, Chicago is looking for retribution after that heartbreaking loss in that wild card game. Obviously, thanks to that Cody Parkey missed field goal. But no Cody Parkey this time. But the thing is, the Bears, they've been struggling offensively, and that Eagles defense is definitely going to be feasting on that offense, especially Mitchell Trubisky. So, this is definitely in Philly. I gotta go with the Eagles to win this one. I'm gonna say my final score. I'm gonna go 24-14 is my final score. So, so there's nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
Rookie Andre Dillard will make his 3rd NFL start at left tackle. Star edge rusher Khalil Mack moves all over the formation and is likely to spend a good amount of time on Dillard's side. Whether the Eagles' offense can function at a high level will depend largely on whether Dillard can rise to the occasion. Jordan Howard rushes for 100-plus yards against his old team. Chicago ranks 6th in net rushing yards allowed per game at 86. However, the Bears' run defense is nowhere near as good without defensive tackle Akeem Hicks, injured reserve with an elbow, whose absence is felt every week. Carson Wentz has 11 straight games of throwing at least 1 passing touchdown, tied for the longest active streak in the NFL with Seattle's Russell Wilson. David Montgomery scored 2.5 more fantasy points last week than he did in his 3 games prior, but now he takes on the 6th best defense against fantasy running backs this season. Philadelphia is 2-8 against the spread as a home favorite over the past 2 years, including 0-5 against the spread when favored by 5 or fewer points. Philadelphia, the FPI favorite, 62.2%. I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles to win this one. I'm going to go 26-17. Philadelphia keeps rolling over Chicago, makes it 5 in a row overall against them. So nothing more to say. MF, Chicago and Philly, NFC wildcard rematch. Your thoughts?
Yeah, and I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to make it a completely official here, guys. I think the thing is, the one argument we get every time about this game is, what is Mitchell Trubisky going to do? If he's, and that's the thing. It's Jekyll and Hyde. One game he's really good. Next game he's been really bad. And against Philadelphia, obviously you kind of feel like, this is a make or break moment for not only him, but Carson Wentz as well. Because Carson Wentz against Dallas played horrible performance. Then had a nice little bounce back against Buffalo, but it wasn't spectacular. We're waiting for that breakout game. I don't know if it's going to happen this week. I think he'll have enough to win, but if you're thinking that he's going to light the world on fire, sorry guys, I don't think so. Not in this game. So I got Philly winning very close, 23-21. I think Philly's just going to have enough to win the game. So nothing more to say. Anthony, next game.
And we move on to another game from our side of the ledger, another one of the top ones here. We got the Indianapolis Colts squaring off against the Pittsburgh Steelers at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. We will be getting this game as part of the first half of the NFL on CBS doubleheader. We got Ian Eagle, Dan Fouts, and Evan Washburn. They will have it. Pittsburgh opening up as a 1-point favorite. Pittsburgh leads the all-time series 18-6. Their last meeting was 2 years ago in Indianapolis. Pittsburgh won 20-17. They last met in Pittsburgh in 2015. Pittsburgh winning that one 45-10. The Colts have not won in Pittsburgh or overall against the Steelers, for that matter, since 2008. That was the last time Indy beat Pittsburgh and also won in Pittsburgh. So the Steelers have won 5 in a row against the Colts. So definitely something has to give in this one. So here we are. The Colts rank toward the bottom of the league in rushing defense. Even if Benny Snell and James Conner don't play, Pittsburgh's run game, led by Jalen Samuels and aided by fullback Roosevelt Nix, should be strong enough to keep the game close. The Colts will record multiple sacks, even though the Steelers have given up an NFL low 7 sacks this season, with 2 of those against Miami last Monday night. The Colts have a total of 10 sacks during their 3-game winning streak, and defensive end Justin Houston has 4 in that time. Mason Rudolph has a 6.6 QBR in the red zone this season, second worst in the NFL. In all, the Steelers have scored a touchdown on just 41.2% of their red zone drives, 5th worst in the NFL. Marlon Mack has at least 20 touches in 3 straight games, but tread lightly, as the Steelers have yet to allow a single running back amass even 90 yards or 14 fantasy points. Indianapolis has covered 6 straight games when the line has been from -3 to +3, and it has won 7 straight games outright, 6-0-1 against the spread. It is 3-0 against the spread and straight up in that spot this season. Indianapolis, a very slight FPI favorite at only 50.2%. But I am going with the Indianapolis Colts to win this one. I'm going to go 21-17. Indianapolis sneaks by Pittsburgh here. If Roethlisberger was playing, maybe I would go with Pittsburgh, but Indy, they're on this magical roll right now, and I think they can keep it going. So 21-17, Indy over Pittsburgh. MF, I mean, I know going into the season, we thought the sky was going to fall once Andrew Luck retired, but they're 5-2. They could be 6-2 after this.
And now a lot of people are starting to think that not only are they divisional, that they could win the division, but now they're starting to think maybe they could be a threat to possibly get to the AFC Championship game. Think about that. From where they were to now where they are, and it has been a steady diet of Jacoby Brissett, which is he is proven to be a very good quarterback, a New England disciple. Bill Belichick had him for that year when Brady got suspended the first 4 games. Jacoby Brissett came in, handled his business, did pretty well, then was let go and went to Indy thinking, I'm just going to be, a journeyman backup quarterback. Andrew Luck's the guy. Andrew Luck retires before the season even begins, and now you get thrusted in as the man. And for the most part, he's handled it pretty well. Pretty good offensive line, not bad. There is a major problem. T.Y. Hilton is out and will be out for a number of weeks. Leg injury, so that might hurt him a little bit. But when you got the return of the Marlon Mack running around, yes, that if you remember that 90s jam song back in the day, I'm not going to play it because I do not want to get hit Floyo in trouble with copyright, so I'm not going to sing. But you know the song "Return of the Mac," and that's something that my boy Chisel Adonis always plays every time when he does his NFL highlight commentaries. When he does anything that has to do with Marlon Mack, you hear that song. You're going to be hearing that a lot tomorrow, in my mind, because I think he could be running wild tomorrow. Marlon Mack, I think, is going to get 100 yards out of this game. Start him on fantasy. Must start, in my mind. And I do believe Indy will continue their hot ride. They'll take down the Pittsburgh Steelers, and yeah, they're going to be 6-2 and firmly ahead in the AFC South. And whoever would have thought we were saying that when the season started? Because I don't think none of us had Indy, even though we kind of had a feeling for it. But let's be realistic. I don't think none of us thought Indy. After Andrew Luck retired, we thought, oh no, Indy's corners. No, they're not. Not only are they still in the hunt, they're controlling it. They're in the catbird seat right now. And it doesn't look like they're going to be giving up that spot anytime soon. So nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours. I mean, Michael Bullock, it's yours. Sorry.
Brandon Lloyd.
Yeah, definitely.
Tremendous amount of success.
Yeah, I mean, well, which game were we talking about again? Yeah, well, which game are we talking about?
Colton Steelers ball.
All right, yeah. Yeah, I mean, going into the season, with the Colts and the unexpected retirement of Andrew Luck, I mean, we were all thinking that this team was it was going to be a hard times year, but yeah, Jacoby Brissett has really stepped up and has really played well as the starter, and of course with Marlon Mack at running back. But the thing is, that's really going to hurt the Colts. No T.Y. Hilton. I heard he's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks with an injury, so that's going to hurt them a little bit. And of course with Pittsburgh, I mean, just barely beating out the Miami Dolphins on Monday night, coming off a short week, and I agree. If this game was in, if this game did have Ben Roethlisberger, perhaps I would say maybe they would have a chance at maybe beating them. But yeah, I got the Colts winning this one, and surprisingly go to 6-2 on the season, and right now they are one of the surprises so far in the NFL. And of course, we already talked about the big surprise team this season. That of course is still the undefeated San Francisco 49ers, but the Colts are definitely right up there. So nothing more to say. Let's move on, Florio.
And we move on to the late games, guys. And each network has 2. Fox has the 4:05 games, and we'll start there. We have the Detroit Lions squaring off against the Oakland Raiders, another great sleeper matchup here. Tom Brenneman, Chris Spielman, Shannon Spake will have it. Oakland opening up as a 3-point favorite. Series history 6-6. But the Lions have won 4 consecutive meetings against the Raiders, including their last one in 2015, 18-13, Detroit winning at Ford Field. Last meeting in Oakland was 2011. Detroit escaped 27. The Raiders have not beaten the Lions at home in the Coliseum, in the Oakland Coliseum, since 1996, 37-21. So that's the history there. MF, we start the late games off with you here. Detroit and Oakland, sleeper game. Both teams doing not too shabby, halfway decent, both teams.
Yeah, moderately well is what I would say it would probably be. But at the end of the day, I gotta say, it was gonna be a very possible way of handling it. But we're gonna have to wait and see how it plays out. So I'm gonna go with I'm gonna actually go with Detroit to get the job done. I think Detroit has a better outlook more than anything else. Defensively, it's basically a wash. It's gonna be a close game. It's gonna be tight. But I'm gonna say 28-24, and I got Detroit knocking off the Raiders. So Michael Bullock, I gave it to you.
Yeah, and like you said, this is definitely a sleeper game right here. And yeah, I mean, I mean, both teams are doing well. I mean, but to me, I gotta go with the. Excuse me. I gotta go with the Detroit Lions here. I think they are uh, the much better team here. So yeah. So there's really nothing more that needs to be said. Florida, it is yours.
With the Lions having the 26th ranked run defense in the league, and the Raiders countering with the 30th ranked pass defense, expect a lot of offense in this contest. The Raiders should ride Josh Jacobs early and often, while Matthew Stafford has to be excited at the thought of carving up Oakland's secondary. Stafford will post his third consecutive 300-yard game, going 3 straight for the first time since the final 3 regular season games of the 2011 season. He will also throw at least 3 touchdowns for the 3rd straight week. Detroit's Kenny Golladay has 3 games with 100 receiving yards this season, including last week, equaling his total for all of last season. And the Raiders have allowed 5 100-yard pass catches this season, tied for the 5th most in the NFL. Tyrell Williams has scored 5 times on his 20 receptions this season, 25% of his receptions. All other Raiders have scored on 5% of their receptions. Detroit coach Matt Patricia is 5-0 against the spread on the road against teams that entered with losing records. Oakland, slight FPI favorite at 56.5%. But at the end, I got to go with the Detroit Lions as well. I'm going to say 28-23 Detroit over Oakland. So nothing more to say. Let's move on to our next late game. The other 4:05 game on Fox. It'll feature the and by the way, that game at the Oakland Coliseum in Oakland, by the way, the Black Hole. Next up, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Seattle Seahawks, the home of the 12th man, CenturyLink Field in Seattle. On the call for that one will be Kenny Albert with Rondé Barber and Sarah Walsh. And Seattle opening up as a 5-point favorite. And the series history, I believe it favors Seattle in this. Let me just double check to be sure. Yes, Seattle leads the all-time series 8-5. But Tampa won the last meeting 3 years ago, 2016. That was a 14-5 final in Tampa. They last met in Seattle in 2013. Seattle won it in overtime, 27-24. The Bucs last won in Seattle back in 2009. That was a 24-7 final. So Michael Bullock, we started with you here. Tampa Bay and Seattle. Home of the 12th man in Seattle. If I'm going to be honest, I don't really like the Bucs' chances in this one.
Yeah, I don't like the Bucs' chances either. And the thing is, guys, that Seahawks offense, I mean, it just got better. I mean, especially now that they got Josh Gordon off waivers from the Patriots. So a nice weapon for Russell Wilson here. I mean, especially when you got that really good running game, but now you add another weapon to that offense, it just makes them even better. And yeah, Tampa Bay, I mean, nothing really too impressive. I just don't like their chances, especially in Seattle, the home of the 12th man. So yeah, I got Seattle winning this one, so there's nothing more to say for it. What's yours?
Will Russell Wilson have to carry the Seahawks offense? They'll want to run the ball like always, but might have trouble doing so against a Buck defense that has allowed a league low 68.6 rushing yards a game. A bold prediction would be calling an upset. Despite Bruce Arians' 4-1 record in Seattle against Pete Carroll, but this Bucs team lacks what his Arizona Cardinals squads had: the ability to pile on points early and close out games on defense. Jameis Winston has 15 turnovers through 7 games this season, already his most through 8 games in any season of his career. The last players with more turnovers through their team's first 8 games were Eli Manning, 17, and Geno Smith, 16 in 2013. Last week, Mike Evans joined Charlie Hennigan in 1961 as the only receivers to post multiple 40-point fantasy games in their team's first 7 games of a given season. Seattle is 0-5 against the spread in its past 5 home games, 0-4 this season. Seattle is the FPI favorite, 64.8%, right about 65% for Seattle. I concur. Seattle wins, closer than people think. I'm going to say 29-22. Seattle over Tampa. So nothing more to say. MF. Tough one for Tampa.
Yeah, tough one for Tampa, no doubt about it. I think it's going to be an interesting game, but at the end of the day, I kind of feel like it's going to be an interesting battle. So close one. You would hope, you would pray, but you never know. So I don't think it will. Jameis Winston had a horrible game last week. I think threw like 4 picks, had a 5th turnover, fumbled the ball along the way, 5 turnovers in a game. And Seattle's D is going to be ball hawking throughout that afternoon. It's going to be a long day. Seattle wins. I got nothing more to say. So, Mike Bullock, I give it to you.
He led off. So.
Okay, so next game, Anthony.
Yes, sir. And and we start with the 425 games over on CBS. They had 2, and we started off with the Cleveland Browns squaring off against the Denver Broncos at Sports Authority Field in Denver. Kevin Harlan, Rich Gannon, and Jay Feely will have the call. The Cleveland opening up as a 4-point favorite. No surprise there. A lot of history between these two teams over the 100 years of the NFL, believe me, especially in the postseason. But nonetheless, Denver leads the all-time series 20-6. And last year, the Cleveland Browns went into Denver and beat Denver 17-16, snapping a very lengthy losing streak to the Broncos. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I believe that win by Cleveland last year snapped an 11-game losing streak to Denver. 11. So that was the win last year. 17-16. Broncos last beat the Browns at home in 2012. That was a 34-12 final. So 3 times they met in the AFC Championship game, all instant classics with Shakespearean drama. I mean, John Elway, The Drive, we'll never forget that. So, and then the infamous fumble by the great Ernest Biner. And that's pretty much all the history between Cleveland and Denver. So let's get on with this one. There we go. Quarterback Brandon Allen will take his first regular season snap on Sunday, 42 months after being selected in the 6th round of the 2016 draft by the Jacksonville Jaguars. And he'll do it against Browns defensive end Myles Garrett, who is tied for the league lead in sacks with 10. Allen faces an uphill battle, playing behind the line that surrendered 26 sacks with Joe Flacco under center. Odell Beckham Jr. will double his touchdown total on the season with 2 scoring grabs at Mile High. The Browns have played the second toughest schedule so far this season, according to the FPI. However, they have the second easiest remaining schedule. Nick Chubb quietly has a run of at least 37 yards in 4 straight games. A 5th straight would tie him with Steven Jackson for the second most since 2001. Adrian Peterson sits atop the list with 6 straight games in 2012. Quarterbacks making their first career starts are 8-0 against the spread this season, 4-3-1 outright. Denver, believe it or not, Denver is the FPI favorite at 59.8%, right around 60%. Totally disagree with that. I got Cleveland winning this game 20-10. That's my final there. So nothing more to say. MF. Denver, very rough start. It looked like they were turning the corner, but then Kansas City got them on the Thursday night, and then it went from bad to worse. Joe Flacco, he gone. Brandon Allen. This is where Cleveland has to start the bounce back right here.
You would think this is their moment, that they would have to win this game, no doubt about it. If they don't win here, I just don't see where they would turn it. So I'm gonna go with Cleveland here. You would hope that they turn it around now. So Cleveland's my pick as well. I think Cleveland will win. Nothing more to say. So yeah. It's Michael Bullock. It's yours.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, Cleveland definitely, they need to win here, or I just don't like their chances of them bouncing back and making the playoffs. I mean, yeah, I mean, what a horrendous performance last week against the Patriots, and I mean, 3 turnovers in their first 3 possessions, including one of the worst shuffle passes I have ever seen. I mean, Baker Mayfield was trying to get the ball to one of his receivers, and instead he got it to the defender, Lawrence Guy. I mean, it was so bad. It actually made not SportsCenter, Monday Night Countdown's favorite segment. Come on, man.
And it also landed in the Sports Center's not top 10 on Friday as well. You were right.
Yeah, when I saw that happen, I'm like, what the hell is Baker Mayfield thinking?
And I mean, on top of that, Jim Nantz even said, "Are you kidding me?"
I heard that. I heard that, and I got a kick out of that when he said that. I mean, that's just how bad it was. And they really need this victory, or it's not going to go well for them. I mean, I think they will, because Denver right now is in a bit of a mess too. So I think this is the game for them to bounce back. So I got Cleveland winning. So let's just move on.
All right, and we move on to the other late afternoon game over on our side of the ledger. This is a game you would normally get on Fox, but this is one time the cross-flex actually benefits our side for a change. The Green Bay Packers squaring off against the Los Angeles Chargers at the StubHub Center in Carson City. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson, they will be in LA for this one. No big surprise. Just waiting for this to close here. Okay. Green Bay opening up as a 3.5-point favorite. Green Bay leads the all-time series. Listen to this, guys. 10-1. 10-1 Green Bay all-time against the Chargers, including 7 in a row. They last met in Green Bay in 2015. Green Bay won 27-20. Their last meeting at the Chargers was 2011. Green Bay won in a shootout, 45-38. The Chargers' only win against the Packers came all the way back in 1984, a 34-28 win, but that was at Lambeau. So a lot of difference there. So I believe it's MF who starts off on this one. MF, usually this would be on Fox, but we got it on CBS, and I'm glad the cross-flex actually benefits us for a change. A marquee quarterback matchup, Aaron Rodgers, Phillip Rivers, 2 proven gunslingers.
Oh, yeah, and expect possibly maybe a high-scoring game if these two get going, because they have been known to do it too. So this is going to be an interesting matchup. I got to go with Green Bay, though. I think Green Bay's definitely got enough in the tank. They just announced that I think Jamal Adams will play. So they said that they might have him possibly playing. Hold on, let me just double check. I don't think it was him, or was it Davante Adams? Give me 1 second, guys.
Davante Adams.
Yeah,
Davante Adams.
Yeah, it says they said optimistic that injured wide receiver Davante Adams will be ready to return on Sunday. He's been out since September 20. He was out, I guess, with the ailing toe, and he's listed as questionable. He racked up 10 catches for 180 yards against Philly in Week 4. I'll say this: if he shows up, look out. I'm gonna say it. If he shows up, look out for Green Bay because I think they're gonna be more dangerous than ever before. So I got Green Bay winning, no doubt about it in my mind. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I got Green Bay winning as well. I mean, this should be a good one, especially when you got two gunslingers and Aaron Rodgers and Phillip Rivers. And the Chargers, I mean, they've been struggling lately, especially offensively. I mean, to the point that they had to fire their offensive coordinator, Ken Wisenhunt. So that's just how bad they've been. So they really need this win to really get them back on track. But I think it's going to be tough for them because Green Bay has definitely been playing well as of late, especially after beating Kansas City in Kansas City last week. So I expect the role to continue for them. So I got Green Bay winning. So Florio, it is yours.
If the Chargers can figure out how to stop Aaron Jones, hold up in coverage, and make Aaron Rodgers uncomfortable by sending just 4 pass rushers up front, they can make things interesting. That's a lot on the to-do list, though. This is going to feel like a home game for the Packers. If you thought they had a lot of fans in LA last year at the Coliseum against the Rams, wait until you see all the cheeseheads this Sunday. Chargers coach Anthony Lynn said, "We don't play the fans, we play the Packers." The Chargers are the first team in the Super Bowl era since 1966, with 4 straight games of under 40 rushing yards. Over the past 2 weeks, Packers running backs have more fantasy points as pass catchers, 77.5, than the Patriots, 75.9, or Minnesota Vikings, 69.9 wide receivers. Los Angeles is 8-1-2 against the spread in the Lynn era as a regular season underdog of less than 7 points. Green Bay, however, is the FPI favorite, 56.9%. That's about 57% for the Packers, and rightfully so. Close game. I say Green Bay. I mean, the Chargers have had so many tough luck losses this season. I'm afraid it's going to be another tough luck loss here. I say Green Bay narrowly escapes here. I'm going to say 28-24, Green Bay over the Chargers. And now, gentlemen, for the first time in a few weeks because of our baseball playoff commitments, which are now over. Congratulations, Nationals, by the way. The Tony and Mikey Game of the Week is back. And it's back going forward the rest of the way. And what a great matchup to have upon our return, MF. Ho, ho, ho. We've had plenty of these matchups over the years, regular season and playoffs. The New England Patriots squaring off against the Baltimore Ravens at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. Sunday Night Football on NBC. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya on the call. New England opening up as only a 3-point favorite. New England, though, leads the all-time regular season series 8-1. Their last meeting was 2016 in Foxborough. New England won 30-23. Their last meeting in Baltimore was 2013. New England won in a rout 41-7. The Ravens have only beaten the Patriots once in the regular season. That was in 2012. Baltimore winning 31-30. Crazy game. MF and I remember that one. I mean, man, that was a fun one. But before we get to MF and I's thoughts on the game, let's go to our neutral source on this one, Michael Bullock. Bullock will start it off on this one. All right, Bullock. Your Patriots have had it fairly easy this season, if I'm going to be honest with you. Finally, you're about to get tested. Oh, what a test you got tomorrow night.
Yeah, now we're really getting into the meat and potatoes of the upcoming season because of the schedule that's coming up for them, and this is the first big test for them going up against the Baltimore Ravens. And yeah, one of the keys in this game for the Patriots, if they are going to beat Baltimore, they need to keep Lamar Jackson in the pocket, because if he gets outside the pocket, this is where Lamar Jackson can really hurt them. And we know the history of the Patriots and their their problems with mobile quarterbacks. I mean, take a look at with Josh Allen earlier this season, going up against the Bills before Allen got hurt. So yeah, that's one of the things they got to do, and also, I mean, the offensive line, which has been hasn't lived up to its standard. They need to protect Tom Brady well against this Ravens defense. And yeah, I mean, this is definitely going to be a tough one here. This is, I mean, it's not an easy choice, but oh man, my heart's telling me to go with the Patriots, but my gut is telling me to go with the Baltimore Ravens. Man, I can't believe what I'm about to say here. I mean, I hope I'm wrong here. I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens in this one. I mean, if this game was in Foxborough, then I would probably say the Patriots would win this one. I think this is definitely going to be a close one, but Lamar Jackson's just playing too good right now, and he could definitely create some problems, even though the Patriots defense has been playing well. So I'm going to go with the Ravens to win this one in a very close one, but I would not be surprised if the Patriots somehow win this one. So, Florio, it is yours.
Wow, what a bold prediction. Wow. I know how hard it is for you to go against your team, Bullock, but, we'll see. We'll see. But anyways, now I'll do my thing as the Jim Nance of our crew here. Lamar Jackson has produced an NFL best 262 scramble yards this season, 88 more than anyone else, by sidestepping and sprinting past tacklers. Meanwhile, the Patriots have allowed the second most yards per rush on scrambles in the past 10 years. Ben Watson will catch a touchdown pass from Tom Brady. The Patriots have struggled to run consistently, so the odds are greater that the offense will once again need to rely more on the passing game. Mark Ingram has 7 rushing touchdowns this season, the 4th most in the NFL, and over the past 5 seasons, his 37 rushing scores trail only Todd Gurley, 52. The Patriots' defense and special teams has scored at least 23 points 4 times this season. The other 31 defensive special teams in the league, only 4 such games combined. Over the past 10 seasons, New England is 31, 13, and 2 against the spread in primetime games. But over the past 6 seasons, Baltimore is 11 and 4 against the spread in primetime. New England is the FPI favorite at 62.3%. Yeah, and I'm right there with Bullock. I mean, this is very tough to call, honestly. Only it's a reversal of fortune here. My gut is telling me to go with New England, but my heart is telling me to go with Baltimore. I do have Lamar Jackson on my fantasy team. I'm starting him tomorrow night. So hopefully he gets me a big game here. But could the Ravens win? Absolutely. They can definitely pull this one out without question. But I don't know why, but I always get this feeling about New England. I always have this feeling that New England always finds a way to win, no matter what. They haven't been tested up until now. They're going to get tested tomorrow night. But believe it or not, Bullock, I'm actually going to disagree with you. I'm actually going to go with your team. I'm going to go with the Patriots to win this one. In a game that I think is going to be lower scoring than people think. I'm going to go 20-17. New England will find a way to steal one in Baltimore because that's the Patriots. As I always like to say, with the Patriots, they always find a way to win.
And you know what, Florio? I actually don't mind you disagreeing with me.
Okay. All right. So that's all I can say on that. I'm going to go 2017. I'm going with New England to what I think will be a 5-star Shakespearean drama game. A lot of these games between these two over the years have been such that. Regular season and postseason. Especially those AFC championship games and divisional games that MF and I had over the years. So there's nothing more to say. Let's bring in the Phil Simms to my Jim Nance. That's good old MF Michael Fletcher. And MF, our Tony and Mikey game of the week. Oh boy, what a game. What a great first game after our baseball playoff commitments. Patriots and Ravens. So many great games between these two we've had over the years. Hello, friends.
Yeah, no, I got to say, this is going to be a big game. This is no doubt the best game of the season up to this point. I'm not going to call it game of the century because it's not, but it's definitely up there to be a game of the year candidate. No doubt about that. As far as this game goes, absolutely. I kind of feel like New England hasn't been tested this year. And I think that's the one biggest thing that we have been saying is that they have not been tested. So at the end of the day, we got to see how this plays out. I kind of feel like New England's going to win it, and I'm the same way. I kind of feel like New England just knows how to win those games. Defensively, they're wicked strong, but Lamar Jackson is a dual threat, and I don't think New England has dealt with a dual threat quarterback yet. So they haven't dealt with the quarterback that can run and pass, that can destroy you with their legs on top of throwing in the air. I think Hollywood Brown might have a big game in this instant. I think the running game will be fine, but when you're talking about New England, man, you gotta talk about the way that they bring it to the table, and that is offensively with Brady, with Edelman, Mohamed Sanu. But you also got Sony Michel. What's he gonna bring? James White. What is he gonna bring? At the end of the day, it's going to be a tight game. Anthony, I agree with that front, but I think the final score is going to be 27-23, and I'm going to side with you, Anthony. I'm going with the New England Patriots. I think the Patriots will find a way to get the job done. Would I be shocked if Baltimore wins? Absolutely not. Kind of sheepishly behind the scenes, I'm rooting for the Ravens to pull off the upset, but I got to be neutral. I got to be professional. I think New England's going to win the game, and I think they're going to win it by 27-23 final score. So nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
Final game of the week and the night. Monday Night Football on ESPN. Second meeting between these two already. The Dallas Cowboys squaring off against the New York Giants, MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey, in the Meadowlands. Joe Tessitore, Booger McFarland, Lisa Salters, as always, for Monday Night Football. Dallas leads the all-time series, with including the win they had against the Giants on opening day in Week 1. Dallas now leads the all-time series 67-45 with 2 ties. Make it 5 in a row now for the Cowboys over the G-Men. That was a 35-17 final in Dallas back in week number 1. Cowboys have won each of the last 2 meetings against the Giants in New York. Last year, they won an epic 36-35 5-star classic a year ago. The year before, Dallas won a little more comfortably, 30-10. Giants haven't beaten the Cowboys at home since 2016. That was a 10-7 final. So, and Dallas opening up as a 7-point favorite, by the way. So that's that. So let's get into our final game of the night. Dak Prescott and the Cowboys bring the NFL's number 1 offense, 437.9 yards a game, to Monday Night Football. That could spell trouble for a Giants defense that ranks 25th against the pass. Prescott has thrown 13 touchdowns and no interceptions in his past 5 games against the Giants. That's 13 touchdown passes, by the way. The Cowboys will hold Saquon Barkley to fewer than 100 rushing yards. Barkley has 200-yard outings in 3 games against the Cowboys, but he has needed runs of 68 and 59 yards to reach 109 and 120 in those games. The Cowboys' run defense has been only okay, but it is as healthy and as confident as it has been all season. The Cowboys have done most of their damage this season using 11 personnel, 1 running back, 1 tight end, and 3 wide receivers. They are averaging an NFL-high 7.5 yards per play out of that package, with 18 offensive touchdowns. Only the Kansas City Chiefs have scored more touchdowns using 11 personnel this season at 20. The Cowboys have won 5 straight over the Giants, and Dak Prescott is a big reason why, averaging 310 passing yards and 25.1 fantasy points a game. Over the past 3 seasons, Dallas is 13-2 outright and against the spread in division games, including covering 7 straight. It has covered all 5 meetings against the Giants in that span. Dallas, overwhelming FPI favorite, 80.7%, just about 81% for Dallas. I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys to win this game. I'm going to say 34-26, Dallas over the Giants in the Meadowlands and makes it 6 in a row against the G-Men. So nothing more to say. MF, Cowboys have won 5 in a row against the G-Men. Do I hear 6 come Monday night?
And you know what? I got to go with Dallas. Even though I love Daniel Jones and I love what he has done, but the Cowboys, defensively, they're looking a little better. Offensively, when you got Dak, you got Zeke, you got Amari Cooper, you got Jason Witten, you got, all those weapons on Dallas's offense. I think and the thing is, I don't think they're afraid anymore. They're not afraid of the moment. I think they're ready to play and take the next big steps. So for me, at the end of the day, I'm going to say it. I go with the Dallas Cowboys to win this game. I think they're going to continue that run and they're going to continue to make that charge to try to win the NFC East. So, but Cowboy fans, they're thinking NFC East, going to the Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl. So it's kind of a mocking joke that I like to talk about with the Cowboys, or like Kaiser Marie Butler likes to call them the Cowgirls. Right? I was not the one who said it. I'm not the one who started that. That was her. But I will say I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys to win. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Bullock, are you there? I think we might have lost Bullock for the night.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. That's all right. It's the last game, so no harm, no foul if that's the case. So I guess that's gonna put the bow on this edition of NFL Saturday. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in, as always. There's okay.
Oh, there you go. We got him. Okay. We got him.
All right, Bullock, just in time. I was about to sign off, but all right. Let's get your quick thoughts on the Cowboys and the Giants on Monday night.
Yeah, I got the Dallas Cowboys winning this one. I mean, I just think they're going to continue to play well offensively. So, and the Giants' struggles will continue. So, nothing more to say. Now, Florio, wrap it up.
All right, Bullock. That will put the bow on this Week 9 edition of Strictly Sports NFL Saturday. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. As always, we'll be back with you on Monday night for another all-new edition of Ridiculously Raw, which will emanate from the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, Long Island, New York. And oh man, after what we saw on that epic Friday night SmackDown last night, I am hopeful that same juju will come over to Monday Night Raw on Monday night. The only thing we know is now Brock Lesnar is back under our control again. Ugh. But hey, at least he brings with him the most prestigious trophy in all of professional wrestling, and that is the WWE Championship. I couldn't be any more happier to have that belt on Raw. I just don't like the man who's holding it, but that's another story. But apparently he and Rey Mysterio are on the collision course, so we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully we'll have some more NXT involvement. That would be awesome. So we'll see what happens with that come Monday night. Tony's take, and we're going to do things a little different now starting this week. Impact Wrestling will be first, and then 205 Live. So we'll get into that on Monday. Wednesday night, join MF over on BraceFan 95 as we will have Wednesday Night Mayhem, NXT, AEW Dynamite. We'll get into both of those. Thursday, College Football Thursday, right back here on the Tone 25, and we have an epic double main event, which includes Penn State against Minnesota, number 5 Penn State against number 13 Minnesota in Minnesota, battle of unbeatens. And then, of course, the other half of that big double main event, it's only the game of the century. We don't get these often, but we're going to enjoy the hell out of it next week. Number 1 LSU, number 2 Alabama in Tuscaloosa, SEC on CBS. Let's go. That's all I'm going to say on that. And we're going to have a lot to say about both of those double main event matchups. Believe you me. And then Friday night Cerebral Smack Talk with MF, Race Fan 95, SmackDown Live. Maybe we'll have a Mikey's Mindset. We'll see what happens. We'll see if SmackDown what does SmackDown have in store this upcoming week after the epicness that we experienced last night. Only time will tell. And then next week, NFL Saturday, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, not the most exciting slate, if I'm going to be honest with you. There are a couple of standout games here. Thursday night, the Chargers against the Raiders. We got the Detroit Lions against the Chicago Bears. The Buffalo Bills against the Cleveland Browns. That should be interesting. Carolina Panthers against the Green Bay Packers. We have the Kansas City Chiefs against the Tennessee Titans. And I hate to say it, MF, that might end up being our game of the week next week. Ugh, that's how bad the slate is next week. LA Rams against the Pittsburgh Steelers. But the two primetime games next week both have potential to be something special. Sunday Night Football next week. The Minnesota Vikings against the Dallas Cowboys. That's got potential. But the real game of the week, Monday Night Football, is going to have the game of the week next week. The Seattle Seahawks and the San Francisco 49ers in San Francisco. Whoa. Major NFC West implications in that one come next Monday night. And that's it. So until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, it's Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, for Michael Bullock, and in spirit, Didi Woodson, and forever and always in spirit, Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed rest of your weekend. And until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, you were watching Week 9 of Strictly Sports NFL Saturday right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.